Hey friends, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina. I am excited to be here with you today to do a comparison video over two of my favorite single to double strollers. So if you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I'm always talking about that NUNA DEMI Next as a great option for a single to a double, but I am very excited to talk about also the Bugaboo Kangaroo because this is honestly one of my new favorite stadium seating single to double options for strollers. So we're going to get into all the differences between these guys in a minute. But before we get started, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. If you are inspired from watching the video and you want to buy one of the products that you see shown in this video, head to my website, destinationbabykids.com. I have a web store as well as a real store here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. We are a true brick and mortar store. Sell strollers, car seats, cribs, chairs, everything best for baby. We sell it, okay? So if you have questions or comments, leave them below. But the greater we can grow the viewership of this channel, the easier it becomes for me to get my hands on these products to make these videos for you. So again, this is the video if you're like, I don't know if I should get a Demi Next or a Kangaroo. What's the difference? This is going to be the video to watch, okay? So we have a ton of ground to cover. It's going to be very long, but I'm going to do my best to do it in less than 20 minutes. And let's launch right in. So I think the most effective way to start with this is to start with the similarities between these products and some of the statistics about them, and then we'll launch into the things that make them different. So Kangaroo from Bugaboo, which is the tan stroller that you see here. This is a single to double. This costs $1,579 currently. The NUNA DEMI Next, which is the stroller that's black that I'm touching right now, that guy is going to be $1,100. So our warranty for Bugaboo is 3 years. Our warranty for NUNA is going to be 2 years. The backrest. So this is talking about how tall the backrest height is on either of these products when the child is sitting in the stroller seat. That's going to be butt to the top of the head, or excuse me, to the top of the backrest. Both of these strollers have a 20-inch backrest. Now, the canopy clearance on the Bugaboo can be raised, which means we can actually raise the canopy up to give more canopy clearance if their body gets longer. So Bugaboo is going to win on that front. Canopy clearance is going to be 22 inches on the Demi Next and 24.5 on the Kangaroo. That is the tallest canopy clearance on a single to double currently on the market. So that 24.5 inch of canopy clearance height on Kangaroo, again, tallest in its class. Love that. Harness, minimums, maximums. So the Demi Next harness will start at 10 inches and then go all the way up through 15. Our Bugaboo starts at 9.75 and goes all the way up through 14.75. So they both have about 5 inches of harness growth that you can do on either product, but we start a little bit sooner and cut out a little bit sooner on Bugaboo. Interesting. Little differences. Seat width. So the width of the Kangaroo seat is going to be 12 inches. The width of the Demi Next is 11.5. The seat depth on the Kangaroo is 10 inches. The seat depth on the Demi is 9. So the point of this is they both hold kids up to 50 pounds in either seat, but Bugaboo will go a little taller and a little deeper and a little wider in the overall seat dimension. Crotch belt depth. The crotch belt depth on both of these guys is 4 inches. And then the extension, which is this piece right here that moves up and down, the articulating foot plate. And Bugaboo Kangaroo is the only Bugaboo that isn't a travel stroller that has that articulating foot plate, so that is very cool. The extension on Kangaroo is 9 inches, and on Demi Next, it's 10. So Demi Next is a 1 inch longer extension. Knee drop. So this is knees going down to here, or possibly all the way down to the bottom. Knee drop on the Demi Next is going to be at 10 inches and then down at 16. On our Kangaroo, it's going to be at 9 and 17 inches. So if you wanted to tuck this bit back and have their feet go all the way down, that's what that longer distance is indicating. Okay, the buckle type. So NUNA has my favorite buckle, and I never shut up about it, but it is a 3 to a 5 point on this specific model. It's a punch down and it's magnet. So it's very, very easy. I have arthritis in some of my fingers. I'm not even old, and it's very frustrating. This buckle is consistently the one that I like because it's just the easiest for me to use. Now Bugaboo does a really cool buckle. They do a 4 or 5 point pop-off buckle, which means that when you hit the center piece, based on how the fabric is on the shoulder harness and around the body, this will always be easy and fall away from the kiddo and stay out of our way when we want to put stuff back together. So what's exciting about this guy is that this is also a 3-point or a 5-point harness, depending on how you want to use it as the caregiver. So if they don't want the shoulder straps on, they don't have to be on. And they both have that option on both of these seats. So that's very cool. Our handle heights. Another difference between the two. So Bugaboo technically doesn't count this as a pushable handle height, but I do, because sometimes I like my hands to be really, really low. So handle height on Bugaboo starts at 36.5 and goes all the way up to 43.5. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, technically 7 positions. Great. On our Demi Next, it's going to be a taller starting handle height. It's 41.5, and then it goes all the way up to 44 inches. So overall a little taller, but theoretically, I guess, less stopping points. I don't know who that would matter to, but if you did want a shorter handle, again, Bugaboo is going to give you that with their folded position where it's at its shortest. That's 36.5. Weight. So these products actually weigh very, very similar to each other. So the weight of the Demi Next, I mean, honestly, NUNA lies about the weight of it, and they're constantly like, it's 26 without any of the crap in it. That's not useful to us. I'm going to say it's about 30 pounds. It feels heavy to me when I lift it. Bugaboo is slightly lighter weight. Bugaboo is going to clock in at 28 pounds. So they're pretty close. Now the basket, that's the underneath part, right? They both have enormous, generous baskets. So if we tip these strollers up, you can kind of see that. That's that underneath storage that I'm talking about. The NUNA's basket will hold 22 pounds, whereas the Bugaboo basket will hold 30. So the NUNA's basket, again, cuts out at 22 pounds, Bugaboo holds 30, but they're both excellent and enormous in terms of the amount of stuff that they can store. The basket's shelf sizing. Okay, so Demi Next is 17 across by 27 deep. Bugaboo is 16 across by 27 deep. So they're pretty comparable in terms of basket overall sizing as well. Our front versus our back opening. So with these guys, we have this option of obviously having the foot plate come up to give us our most generous opening to the front. That's what I start with. So front opening on Kangaroo is 11 inches. Our back opening to get into the basket is 10. With the Demi Next, our front opening is 9 inches. And then to get into the back, it is 16. So that is a very accommodating back opening. They both have a front wheel lock, which means that with either one of these models, if I wanted to push the stroller through varied terrain like snow, with either one, I would have this option to lock the tire into a fixed position, which means that neither one of these tires, now that they've been locked, will have rotation. So you can just push through whatever you want to, and they both have a lock on each front tire, so you can lock both tires. Obviously, they both have that. Sandal-friendly brake. We know for sure that Bugaboo has sandal-friendly brake, and then for NUNA, you click it down, and then to go up, you do have to pop up underneath it. So not as sandal-friendly on the NUNA brake as on Bugaboo. Not the end of the world. It still didn't wreck my sandal, so I'm not too mad at it. Okay, so newborn recline. This is where these strollers are going to start to be a little bit different. Bugaboo is, yes, more expensive than NUNA at the onset, but Bugaboo is going to come ready to work for a newborn. So both of these strollers, and I am going to show these both folded actually really quickly here. So with NUNA, when it's in its single mode, you're going to pull your stroller up like that to have it fold up. This is your folded position for your NUNA Demi Next. It's big. There's no getting around it. It's a big fold. Our Bugaboo is theoretically a single hand fold where it all comes together pretty rapidly and it stands like that. Now I would argue both of these are very large when they're folded. And on both of these options, you're probably going to be happier removing the stroller seat and stowing that and then stowing the other component. But again, they both have this option where if you wanted to remove that, you could. So as you can see, I tumbled my Bugaboo over, but it will stand typically for folding if you do it properly, and the handle can even come down and touch the floor. There's different ways to do it. So they both can fold and stand. And in this position, you see the Bugaboo is a little shorter. So not the end of the world. But let's go ahead and put those both back together. And we'll talk about, again, some of these differences, right? So when you buy your NUNA, you could buy a bassinet separately to use it from birth. It won't work with the stroller seat for a newborn right out of the box. But they do include a car seat adapter for the NUNA that works with their brand car seats. So as long as you buy a NUNA brand car seat, you're going to be fine. And you can put your new baby in here from birth. That's included in the purchase price. Not the car seat, but the car seat adapter. Now, Bugaboo also includes a car seat adapter. This will work with NUNA, Cybex, Maxi Cozy, Kleck, a whole host of different seats. Even this really cool Peg Perego Lounge, which is a reclining car seat. So if you wanted your car seat to recline, you can do that. We can't do that on NUNA, but we can do it on the Bugaboo, which is very cool. But Bugaboo would still argue this is not ideal for a new baby. A new baby is probably best suited with a lay flat recline. So Bugaboo, when you actually take the stroller out of the box, the way it's set up will include a bassinet, which is a piece exactly like this. And in fact, this is the bassinet for the stroller. I'm going to go ahead and take the canopy off the stroller seat and put it onto the bassinet, because when you're using these pieces, these are interchangeable, meaning Bugaboo doesn't come with like a full separate piece that's a bassinet. It comes with one seat skeleton that has two frames. I have a whole video about this. So as it comes out of the box, it's set up to work for a newborn, like you see here, with a lie flat bassinet that a new baby can go into. And you can actually even purchase a stand like this to make the bassinet work next to your bed. Another feature about Bugaboo that's different than NUNA. NUNA's two-handed engagement to make stuff come on and off the frame. Bugaboo is single-handed. So you only have to hit one thing at a time in order to make that stuff all work together. So this is very exciting feature set on here. So I could have that next to my bed. Again, that would be sold separately. So Bugaboo is going to include a bassinet. NUNA includes, it also includes the car seat adapter. And then as you saw, you change the bassinet into the stroller seat for later on, which is this guy here. And of course, both of these strollers have the option to have the seat face caregiver, which is what's going on here. And they'll both have full recline in both positions, meaning like if they're parent facing or facing out at the world, they will both have the full recline spectrum available. But with NUNA, what's going to be really special is that NUNA offers you this option to use it in a multitude of ways directly out of the box. So this is one way we could use this NUNA stroller right out of the box. Let's say you had a friend that came over that also had a brand new baby and they also had a NUNA car seat. Well, NUNA gives you a second set of car seat adapters that can make another car seat clip on low. So provided it's a NUNA seat, we're going to be able to use this as a double right from the box. Now, another thing that could be very exciting is that if you have an older and a younger, NUNA enables you right out of the box to be able to use this stroller that way without any secondary purchases. Okay? So we've got older up here and younger down there. Now, that being said, again, this is that two-handed engagement I was talking about. If we wanted to reverse this, we would be able to do that as well. So if you want your big kid on the bottom and your little baby up on the top, NUNA says, hey, no problem. We've included all the pieces for you to do this directly out of the box. So again, this is kind of an exciting thing that you can do this at the $1,100 price point. It includes all of the stuff with the exception of the car seats. The car seats you buy separately. Now, that being said, let's say you had a big older kiddo and the seat no longer would work. NUNA does include a standing riding board for an older kid to hop on and stand and ride. So I think that guy holds up to like 50 pounds and they can stand and ride. You could have the car seat, you could have the standing riding board, or you can have the standing riding board and you can have the stroller seat as well. Now, something to be aware of though is that if there's two kiddos sitting on the stroller frame with the Demi Next, the riding board won't also attach, so it'll never be a 3-kid scenario. Just 2, and thank goodness, 2 is plenty. But if you did want it to go for 3, something to be aware of, it won't do that with the standing riding board that they include. So here is the included mosquito net. This just kind of shows how cool that is. Bugaboo, they do include one, but it is not sewn into the frame. So this is a really nice feature. I didn't button it perfectly. I did on this side though, so you guys can see a little more easily. That is very cool. Another thing that's gonna be very cool about NUNA is that the seat itself on the stroller includes a liner with a mesh ventilated panel on the back of the seat. So on a hot day like today, it's about 100 degrees here in the store, I'm sweating like crazy. We would be able to remove this and have breeze going through to hit kiddo. So there is a lot to love on this Demi Next for the $1,100. It is a shockingly strong value, especially from NUNA, because they're generally known as being somewhat overpriced. I don't think so, but you know, that's what people might say. Another really cool feature of Demi Next is that it does have an adjustable suspension. There are locks on the back. It's sort of like high and low pile for a carpet. It is, I believe, up for rough terrain and down for a smooth surface. So because the store is smooth, I'm gonna flip those down, but it is an adjustable suspension and this is not a running stroller, so it's pretty much the only one that does that, which is very cool. Okay, so if we're gonna talk more thoughtfully about Kangaroo, Kangaroo is going to be a really good option for single to double if you don't want to do what NUNA offers, which is called inline double, okay? So inline double is one child sitting essentially on top of the other one. Now, this doesn't bother me. My sisters have 5 kids between them, so I've done a lot of childcare. And what I enjoy about NUNA is that if you had your older kid lower and your car seat on top, you actually don't have the lower kid losing their sight line. They're still able to see what's going on. And for a big kid, like 2 or 3-year-old, and they're like, I want to do it. I want to get in and out. Here we have that option to be able to get in and out of the seat independently on our own quite easily. So I do love that feature. Also, the physics of this style will just push more easily for me, and I'm going to put weight in here to show you guys that as well. So then on Bugaboo, when we're ready to turn it into a 2-kid stroller, there's going to be a little bit more work involved. It's certainly not difficult, but what you would do is there's a piece on the stroller that turns around. So you would flip it around and you would go ahead and clip the single to double kit back onto the frame, set up in 2-kid mode. And there's a red and green light that kind of indicates what mode is what. So it's clear what we're doing. Now here, we have the option, we could actually do the bassinet on top with a toddler seat on the front. I left my piece in the back to show that, so we're not gonna worry about that right now, but that is a special feature that you could do here for an additional 50 bucks. I'm gonna just show with the car seat because they do include the car seat adapters. And the thing about this set of car seat adapters that's very exciting is I can flip these around to be front or rear facing. So we can do that on one set of adapters for NUNA, but not on both. So we've got our car seat on top, and now with Bugaboo, we're gonna go ahead and purchase a second seat. So the seat that came with the stroller will not clip onto the front, whereas with NUNA, the seat that comes with the stroller will fit onto either position. So NUNA, no question, more cost effective right off the bat if you did want to use it for 2 kids. But this is where Bugaboo will be probably more appealing to some of the viewers. When we turn this into a 2-kid system, our toddler seat actually sits down here on the front. So kiddo can still get in and out on their own super easily. They're able to climb in and out. We still have an adjustable foot plate, which is really great. We've got our baby on top, close looking at us, and we don't lose any of our basket storage. Whereas here on NUNA, we're gonna lose that basket storage when we have kiddo sitting directly underneath and in the basket portion of it. So we are able to flip this around. If I put the car seat on the NUNA in the lower position and the stroller seat on top, we will get more basket space, but it does encroach about half of the basket space. So if you wanted the bigger open basket that you've already been used to using, Bugaboo is going to hit that more effectively for a consumer than this style ever will be able to. So, and this is where it gets to be kind of interesting. I am going to take 30 pounds and put that in my toddler seats on these guys, meaning our big kid seats. And then I'm also going to take 28 pounds and put that in each one of the car seats. Now, I don't think you would have a 28-pound baby in an infant seat. If you did, God bless you. But just in general, this is going to kind of show off that physical difference that I'm talking about. So when I push this product, I have all of the weight over my rear tires. Let's push this Bugaboo out of the way. Wow, that actually moved more easily than I thought it was going to. But as you can see here, this NUNA is moving very easily. I don't feel overwhelmed by the size because it's really not any larger than it was when it was a single. And also for getting up a curb, I'm going to shorten this a little bit for me because I am short. For popping it up over a curb, that's actually pretty easy because the weight is on the back wheels versus seated over the front. Now, objections are poor basket, and this kid doesn't get a great sight line. I would argue when the car seat is on here, they have a fine sight line. You lose some of the sight line once we switch over to seat with seat, which I'll show you in 1 second. Bugaboo, very easy to maneuver, very easy to turn, very easy to get moving. And then for curb pop, very, very easy. So my biggest complaint with Up a Baby, for instance, is if I wanted to pop it up over a curb, I have to jump in order to be able to do that. Here I don't need to use my foot as a brace the same way for NUNA. So as far as single to doubles in the traditional stadium seating are concerned, Bugaboo Kangaroo by far pushes the best, okay? And I cannot state that more explicitly. This has the best push of a single to double if you're looking for stadium seating. If you don't care about stadium seating, of course, still Demi Next would be my #1 choice. But if you wanted stadium seating, Bugaboo is exciting because I can finally endorse something that would work for stadium style setup. Let's go ahead and take this off. That beeping is just letting us know that I've hit my time, my goal time for the video. And the nice thing is we're almost done. So I'm going to go ahead and show the viewing audience here how this would look with 2 big kid seats on both models, because I think sometimes that's helpful to understand as well. So this is what I would say here, right? And let's go ahead and we'll put the canopy back on our main seat that is on our Bassinet. But our Bugaboo front seat will only hold 45 pounds. So it won't hold 50, or it may only hold 40. I think it holds 45. I'll double check for you guys, but I know it definitely does not hold 50. Whereas if you did 2 NUNA seats, they're actually going to be physically the exact same seat. So each seat position here will hold 50 pounds. However, as I pointed out, once we move a seat onto this top position for NUNA, the kid on the bottom definitely gets kind of a raw deal in terms of what they're able to see. So I don't hate this, and usually people buy matching colors. This is just to kind of more clearly illustrate this difference here. Because the foot plate comes down and wouldn't be necessarily up all the time, kiddo in the back doesn't get as much to look at. Whereas here, both children have an unobstructed view. Now, as I pointed out before, these seats will each hold 50 pounds, whereas with Bugaboo, I'm pretty sure it's 50 on the top and either 40 or 45 on the bottom. So I'll double check that and leave that in the comments. But they both are excellent in terms of that. And something to keep in mind, our Bugaboo Kangaroo backrest on the double seat, 17.5 inches tall. Harness minimum maximum is 11 to 15. The weight capacity, pardon me, weight capacity here is 40 pounds, not 45. Canopy will go up to 23 inches, however. So that's still a taller canopy than 22, which is what you would get with the Demi Next. Because remember, it's the same seat. It's not an actual different seat. Seat depth here is 8.5. The leg extension is 7.75. The knee drop here is 7.75. And again, you do get the heel strap on the bottom, which is important. It's the same type of 5-point easy on and off. And the heel strap we pointed out there. So very, very similar strollers, slightly different in terms of pricing. No question that Bugaboo is more expensive. But if you start adding in all the same pieces to make them apples to apples, they're actually relatively close in price. I'm not going to get into that right now because this video already went to 20 minutes, so we're going to close it up. But if you have questions or comments, leave them below. Again, these two easily in 2025, my favorite options for 1 to 2 children. Theoretically can both be used with twins. You can do a car seat in both positions here. You can do a car seat in both positions here. But again, far more cost effective out of the box to go with the NUNA than the Bugaboo. But I argue Bugaboo has a styling setup here that is more appealing to most consumers and still can push super easily if you are just, you know, someone smaller on your own pushing 2 big kids around. They're both going to be very easy to maneuver. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.